Welcome back to another edition of the AUDL Take. Still no news about whether the AUDL 2020 season will actually start or if there's going to be a shortened version or even a playoff kind of tournament style approach. Still no news with that, but we are moving on. This week's episode is an interview with one of the best players in the league, I believe so, and one of the most talented people in the air for the Raleigh Flyers. That is Terrence Mitchell. We're having a little sit-down interview, and we're going to learn more about him. We're going to be talking a lot about his career when he first got into the AUDL, how he's compared it to playing in, let's say, the Worlds and in club. So enjoy the interview here with Terrence Mitchell. All right, welcome everyone to the AUDL Take here. We're talking with Terrence Mitchell, player from the Raleigh Flyers, and thanks for joining the show.
Hey, what's going on, man?
So we're going to kind of jump right into it here. So you, at the time you came into the AUDL, I believe you were one of the youngest players at the time. I want to talk about how old you were then and what it felt like to actually step into the AUDL field, into that new form of Ultimate, and maybe touch on how that's progressed over the years.
Well, for starters, I would say it was probably just like adjusting to the actual like field size and play, because of course it's on like a much larger field and it's a lot more space to cover. So, I would say really just adjusting to the size of the field, and over time or over the years, like learning to control my throws, because I would say in the first year I was more prone to turning it over. I'm pretty like that. I was prone. I was definitely looking to throw it deep every time and do that kind of thing. But other than that, I would say just adjusting to the size of the field, and like it was a faster pace too.
Yeah.
As opposed to club, you can kind of like walk and take your time and do that kind of stuff. But with the AUDL, everything is time, so you gotta like run, and the plays are going faster, and the people are like running faster. So yeah. But other than that, though, it wasn't too much adjusting.
Yeah, what age were you when you actually started the AUDL?
19.
19, yeah. And how many years of Ultimate have you been playing before that?
I think maybe 4 or 5 maybe.
Okay.
I think I might started my first summer 14.
Okay. So you already had pretty good Ultimate experience, and then just walking on the AUDL field. It's interesting you say the width, because I feel like the time, like dealing with quarters and stuff, that's just something you completely different from Ultimate. Was that anything you really thought of or considered? You said it maybe increased some of the pace. Didn't bother you too much, I guess.
Well, no, not really. I still just kind of show up and play, but
right. Yeah, I can understand that, especially the sense it's really just the buzzer beaters that really change anything, as far as you're just going to go out and do your points the way you're planning it. Yeah.
Hold on. So what was the question exactly? Or rephrase it. Kind of.
I'm just curious, like some of the things that stood out to you when you came on the AUDL. Width is definitely a big one, because especially on offense, I understand you've just got so much more room to work with. But I just didn't know if there was anything else that really stood out to you. I was
gonna say playing defense is pretty tough too.
Yeah.
It's like so much space that you have to cover. It's like it's almost impossible to beat a person to every space on the field that can So that's one of the things that's a little tough, is playing defense. But besides that, I mean, some of the players are pretty good on other teams.
Yeah. Consistently higher quality.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of move on to, as for you as a player, I really didn't know about you till 2015. That's when I started really getting involved with the league with the hustle. And so I was doing I still do a lot of the camera work and now the commentating. So I definitely noticed you as a player, you stood out on that highlight factory. I mean, you are always, when it's the bigger the risk, you usually come out on top. And not to be mean about in a sense, but you aren't someone who physically stands out. You're not the tallest person on the field. You don't have these massive muscles, but then you look at your footwork, you look at your hops, your acceleration. That's what really stands out. It doesn't seem to matter what kind of player you're up against. You seem to really rise up to the challenge. So after I'm done praising you now, what is it that you feel like your role is on the Flyers, and maybe talk about some things that you are intentionally trying to improve, and maybe some things you've just naturally improved over the last few years.
Well, as far as like my role on the Flyers, I just kind of do what they tell me. Whatever like position they need me to play. Usually I'm cutting or I'm a cutter, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever he like tells me to do or wants me to do, I can try to like fill in and do my part for the team and make sure that we're trying to stay focused and
Sure.
do the thing. But
what would you say? I've noticed statistically your throwaways have gone down. Do you feel a lot more confident as a thrower than you did maybe when you first started in the AUDL?
Yeah, of course. My decision making is really what it is. Like I would say, I still like I'm a pretty confident thrower and still don't mind throwing it deep. But like I would say my making, because I definitely like my first season had more turnovers than I think I had like in any other seasons.
You have, yeah. Right.
So it was like that's one thing that I definitely wanted to work on as time progressed, because I didn't like making the mistakes. You know what I mean? So I don't like making mistakes, but
sure, who does?
Definitely, yeah, exactly, right. That's definitely that I focused on.
Yeah.
But I would say I still work on like my overall game. My throws, definitely I try to practice like throwing as much as I can, like when I get free time, or even if I'm just like in my house and like walking around with the Frisbee, practicing, stepping out and doing all this stuff. My girlfriend is always looking like, what are you doing right now? And I'm like in the zone going hard doing it. What are you doing right? Like trying to get better.
I need to do this.
Yeah.
So let's kind of move on to, we've been, it's the AUDL takes. We're talking a lot about the AUDL, and I want to know what separates for you playing for the AUDL. What are some experiences you have that you feel like you wouldn't have had if you played club or anything else? We could talk about what it's like game day and maybe possibly what traveling's like, and it could also be a positive thing or a negative thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the traveling part is one thing pretty good because it's free. I like the free aspect of it, like having to pay for anything. But definitely like the van rides though, or at least the trip to Jacksonville, Tampa is the tough one.
I bet.
Is a super long ride, and of course Mike D all of a sudden wants me to drive the van now. So when we're taking these trips. So I know the longest one I think driving back. I think we drove from Jacksonville maybe like overnight one time, and I think I drove like most of the way, like the whole way back. So we got back at like 5 or 6 in the morning. So we made it. So,
yeah. Luckily you didn't fall asleep at the wheel, ruin the whole season.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
I have a specific moment. I remember it was this past season. You came to Atlanta Hustle. It was actually game of the week, and I was running the 50-yard camera that day. And I'll remember it was near the end of the game. An actual fan came up to you and you signed a disc for him at that game. I believe I actually like zoomed in on the camera. That's something that you've ever had happen outside of the AUDL?
Yeah, it has before. It's happened a few times. I know when it was at Worlds, I think. With I want to say it was 20 with Ring, right? I think it was 2018. Okay.
Possibly.
Was in Ohio. I think it was 2018. Yeah, a couple people like came up and like wanted to take pictures and stuff. And when I played Worlds, Junior Worlds too, I had like took a lot of pictures and did that kind of thing. It was cool though. But no, yeah, a little bit, or not really, because it's still, I'm not like, I'm still kind of awkward when I like give hugs and all that stuff. But it's cool, man.
Could you compare maybe what it's like? So you played with Worlds. What does that feel like compared to playing a game day in the AUDL? Like kind of with the stadium and hearing the PA going, or just having people sit around a field and cheering?
I would say I think the main difference with club and again before club and before like a game is just the free time before the game, because with club you're usually up early in the morning. You got a couple games that day that you gotta like prepare for, so you gotta like prepare your body to play 2-3 games throughout the day, as opposed to like the AUDL game. We got one game, 4 quarters, 12-minute quarters, so you just gotta go hard for the 48 minutes. So.
And I think that's a big one to touch on, because especially growing up in college and playing club, you had 4 to 8 games in a weekend. So it was more of like a marathon in the sense of there's some games you're like, I can't burn myself out this game because maybe the next game's more important, or there's more strategy involved, where it must be kind of the simplicity of the AUDL is just, I'm going to go hard for 4 quarters. That's all I'm doing today. That's probably kind of relieving in some way.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is. It's like you get a lot more time, or a lot more time here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got the game not until 7 o'clock, so you got the whole day to do whatever you need to get ready. So it's like, I like that a lot about the AUDL too.
And I'm not sure what Mike D does as far as preparing for a week, but I mean, I'm sure you're possibly looking at film from this team. I don't know how often you may do that, but I feel like it'd be kind of fun to, you have every week, who you're playing next. So there's more of a strategy of, this is what we have more time to really set up schemes, and we're going to make sure we stop this person. And you got the film work to use. That's probably pretty different.
Yeah, definitely. Mike D definitely, like, since we met him and DA or David Allison, they used to send a lot of emails, definitely, with like film of who to cover and like people that we should like looking to cover and all that stuff. I'm not gonna lie though, I wasn't the best at watching. I just recently here, I want to say like in the past like couple months, started like watching, like actually watching and paying attention to film and like watching players and like what they do and like moves that they do on the field and everything and how they get open and stuff. But like before then though, I had like a mindset like, doesn't matter like what they do.
Yeah.
Stop me is the real question. I'm still gonna play, like whether it's defense, offense, whoever I'm going against. I was like, I'm still like gonna be ready. So as long as I'm ready, I just hope they're ready. You know what I mean? But now I'm like getting older, and I'm starting to actually like take these things into consideration, and like trying to actually improve my mental as well as my physical game. So
I think it's just something that's so new for so many Ultimate players to have access to film, first of all, and now being able to look at that and how to incorporate that into your game. I think it can only make you better, but there is so much of Ultimate that if you play your game, you've been playing long enough, what to expect from a lot of these players. But I think it's a fun new aspect it makes me feel a little more professional. I feel as a player, because you're looking at game tape and there's this weekly setup, so it does kind of give that pro feel to it. So we've been in quarantine. I'm sure everybody's been doing their best to stay healthy. We talked before, you said everybody in your family's doing pretty well right now, so that's good to hear. What have you been doing to stay in shape in case the season does come back up?
Well, here I got like a morning workout routine before I go to work. I try to like wake up and like stretch and do that kind of thing. I usually run maybe like 2 or 3 days out the week before like I stretch and everything. So I get up at like, I want to say I get up at 6, and I try to get back, or I try to be finished with it by like 7:15, because usually I finish work by like 8:30. So I try to get like a workout in that time, and then just like prepare for my day. And then
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, and sometimes like I have free weekends, I'll go to like the park and do like a workout or something like that, and I'll take my girlfriend and my baby out and get some outside time. So
yeah. I've been doing I look like a crazy person. I'm at the park just throwing flick hucks to nobody. Going down there and throwing them back. But yeah, so it sucks right now because you're not really getting that Frisbee play time. It's like I've noticed you can work out all day, but not getting the actual play time in, it takes a minute to adjust. So do you feel as if the season were to start like next week, what would you think the quality of play would be like, as far as need a week to get people used to playing again?
Maybe just to get like back into the groove, but I can say for the most part, or at least from our team, like they send like a lot of pictures in the group meets of like everybody doing the workout. So a majority of people been pretty like good about staying in shape.
Yeah.
as long as like we can maintain it, I think if we started, I think we'd be all right.
Yeah. I can see maybe a first few points, so some weird turnovers and some turfs, but
definitely, it'll be an interesting first half.
Yeah, there you go.
Interesting. So, like once we get through, it'll be good.
Yeah, I bet you're right too. Some teams will be better at it than others, but yeah, because especially with the Raleigh Flyers, you guys are such a core group. You've been playing together for a long time. It wouldn't be hard for you guys to get right back up in sync. So we're still not sure if there is a 2020 season coming. It definitely doesn't look like a full season's going to happen. I'd be kind of curious what you're thinking about as far as will we have a season or not. And also, yeah, let's just start there. Do you think we'll actually have a season this year?
I'm hoping. I mean, it's no difference. I want to play.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to play. I've been anxious to like play again. So
I pushed it a while back ago when I first started the show, but I was one of those people talking about doing a tournament style where it's basically everyone in the new division would play each other just like in college or club, like a 4 to 8 game kind of mini season, and then have someone play like whoever wins that championship that weekend goes on championship weekend. Would you be interested in doing something like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Whatever, I was gonna say whatever way they want to play, man, I'm ready to play.
I'm like the viewer. I want to film some Ultimate. I want to watch it, and I think if there's enough people who really want to do it, you could probably get something together.
Yeah, I think we could. I think it'll be enough people to. I think it'll be enough people. I know everybody on Raleigh is ready to go.
Yeah.
Play, so whenever they get back going, it'll be.
Yeah, fire. I'm very excited because the Southern Division is gone. Now we're the Atlantic Division. I would like to hear from you. What teams are you excited that are coming into the division? What teams are you excited to see go, or maybe sad to see go?
I'm excited. I'm excited about playing Philadelphia and Pittsburgh this next go around because we never played them before, so that would be pretty fun to do because I've never got to play those teams. And DC and DC too definitely be fun. And it'll take the trip of us going to Texas off. That's the only part about it was flying there. But as far as I don't have any negatives about it or any really opinion on them changing it. It's I just show up and play, man. Yeah. It makes me no difference who we're playing against.
Sure.
Come be ready.
Some of my favorite games to watch the Flyers though was Roughnecks and the Flyers. That battle was always great, and not only because the games themselves were competitive, but you guys would get a little snippy with each other. There was some talking back and forth. I would classically see you towards the end of a game sky somebody, and there'd be some talking back to people and stuff. So I kind of want to touch on Dallas. That was the team that always seemed to get you guys at the end. It just now to have them removed. I think DC and maybe Atlanta might be the the toughest competitor. Do you guys feel more confident that you can make it to a championship weekend now that maybe you don't have Dallas, or do you think not having Dallas may make you guys a little softer?
No, it definitely won't make us softer.
I think
that phrase is well, not to
go for it.
About it, but I can't phrase it. I don't know how to phrase it. I just say, man, it really doesn't affect me too much the change of taking them out. I mean, I wouldn't mind keeping them more. Instead. And I was actually looking forward to playing again this next year, but they changed the
right.
And so
that's kind of what I'm hinting towards. I feel like for me, for Atlanta and Dallas, we always knew that was a big uphill battle for us. So it was a team that we almost kind of, not to admit it in a way, but you knew that this could be a possible loss in our column for us, Atlanta. And so, but I liked playing them because I felt like they challenged us more. So there was more to learn from that competitive edge. So to lose them is kind of wow, we might have a better chance of getting into the playoffs, but we are losing a quality team that could really strengthen us. So that's the biggest thing I worry with Dallas.
Yeah, that's kind of part of what I am gonna miss though, because I like their I guess I like the energy when we play against them. I like playing at the fields and everything. I'd say because they always come to play. So.
Yeah, exactly. And man, if you can get to championship weekend, there's a very good chance they're going to probably dominate the West. So it would make an even better championship weekend to see you guys in the final or something. That would be an incredible final.
Oh yeah, I'll be ready.
Oh yeah, awesome.
I'll be ready.
Well, I want to just thank you for coming on the show. It was great to actually finally meet you. I'd love to be able to meet you in person. I know you'll be coming to Atlanta here, hopefully, maybe this year, but if not next year. So thanks again for coming on the show. I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. No problem at all.
And that about wraps it up here for another episode of the AUDL Take. If you enjoyed the interview, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, hit the like button. If you want more of our content, hit the subscribe button here for the AUDL Take. We enjoy bringing you new content every single week, so thanks again for tuning in. I can't wait to see you next time on the AUDL Take.